Hey guys, I'm so excited. This is our July YouTube live session. So definitely keep I guess posted, right? I usually do it at the beginning of the month as to or the end of the month as to when I'm going to go live, just so that I my audience kind of has an idea of when I'm going to do that. I know we all have busy lives and we're all in the chaos, right? Which is what today is all about. This time I did it a little bit earlier for those that are on Eastern Standard Time. So every month I'll try and do it at different times so that you guys can attend live. But as always, you can watch the replay and you can share, comment, message me, and do all the good stuff. But for those that don't know me, actually, let's rewind. My name is Eda Rosa. I'm the founder of Eda Rosa LLC. You can find me mostly anywhere: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, podcasts, Let's Talk Paralegal. But the majority of my time I spend on LinkedIn just because obviously we run a business and we want to stay professional as possible when it comes to our business. So I definitely am very active on LinkedIn, but Instagram and Facebook, you can still find me if that's your thing. So yeah, so we basically Eda Rosa LLC offers paralegal services far and foremost, but we also offer legal professional development training. And what that consists of is either one on one coaching for legal professionals that are looking to just enhance some skills or get kind of like some guidance. We also consult with law firms to revamp or at least enhance, improve, however you want to nicely say it, the process development of the law firm. Because we know that sometimes law firms are it's a very good business, especially for lawyers, but lawyers are most likely not trained as business professionals and they don't really do the grunt work. Obviously, that's why there's a legal support staff, unless they are sole practitioners. There are always exceptions to everything, right? Even in law, there's always exceptions and clauses. We all know that. But it's nice to have somebody on your side that can help you improve the process and maybe look at your current process in a different set of eyes and perspective, right? That's what life is all about. You want to bring that perspective and that different look to anything, especially your business, your livelihood, basically. So, yeah, so that's basically in a nutshell what Eda Rosa LLC is all about. I think what we're most known for is the Let's Talk Paralegal podcast. And that actually was a passion project of mine that I thoroughly enjoy doing. But we did take a little bit of a hiatus, but we'll come back in September. So you can definitely check out season one right now. It's still active, it will be probably forever. And thanks, shout out to our sponsors for season one, which was Armin Hill and Hectic. So thank you very much for that, for sponsoring us for season one. And also, again, season two will be out in September. I believe it's September 7th to be exact. But in a nutshell, that's who I am and that's what we do. Aside from all that, I'm obviously a business owner. I'm a mom of two toddlers. I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm everything. I'm the chief everything officer. That's what I call myself, and that's what I will continue to call myself because it is a reality that we all need to share and live with. So that brings me to today's subject, which is trying to relieve yourself from the chaos of it all. The legal industry can be so demanding, and we live off of deadlines, literally. That's what the legal industry is all about, whether it's provided to you by the client, by the court, by other parties, by the law, right? Sometimes we have our statutes of limitations that we have to, chase after. But all of that entails deadlines and creates chaos when it's not thoroughly organized, which is why I got into the business of process development for law firms, and for legal departments and corporations in general that deal with any legal matters. Because I think it's so important to understand how to control it. There are so many different ways that you can control this type of chaos. And the chaos in and of itself in the legal industry is somewhat predictable. After a while, you can kind of understand what the deadlines are, where we're going at. And then if you look at the caseload as a whole, then you'll get a better understanding and you can be proactive as possible. But the only way that the proactivity can actually work is if you actually have the whole team on the same page. So I think communication has a lot to do with being proactive. But this is not about process development. If you want process development, you can go ahead and go on my website, which is on the screen and also in the comments to find out more. And you can get a free consult for 30 minutes and we can go over process development. Today, we're going to be talking about the chaos in general as a legal professional. And as always, I have 3 questions for you. The first question is, what are your biggest bottlenecks, right? In business, in the profession in general, we all have certain types of bottlenecks. And those bottlenecks can consist of your personal life flowing into your professional life or vice versa. Sometimes we have to trial prep, and sometimes we have a really big case that's going into mediation or arbitration, and we need to work those extra hours, whether they're 10, 12 hours. So it interferes with our personal life, creating yet again that unforeseen, right, chaos. So your bottlenecks can be anything. Your child gets sick, some type of emergency, but all this again can be alleviated simply by being proactive on your caseload and being communicative with everybody else on the team and really working that case as a whole. So by the time the trial comes, because let's be real, we know about the trial months in advance. So you mean to tell me that we cannot get it together, at least a month beforehand? And of course, we'll always have those last minute motion and limines. We'll always have those emergency hearings. We'll always have opposing party trying to get slick at the end of the day. I get it. I understand we're always going to have certain emergencies, but that's all we should be handling by the time we get to the actual trial period or the mediation or the arbitration or even hearing, to be honest with you. Hearings usually are set anywhere from 7 to 14 days. So we need to get it together, okay? We need to figure those bottlenecks and see what those bottlenecks look like to us and really figure it out and have a powwow with the team. The next question is, what are some things you can do today to improve them tomorrow or in the future or right now? So that's a big one for me. What I love to do is when I'm setting hearings or depositions, mediations, anything that needs to be set, I prepare it that same day. So the same day that I schedule it, the same day that I coordinate it, the same day that I place it on the calendar and do everything else that we need to do, send out notices, all that good stuff, we should start preparing already as if that hearing is that day. Usually, again, you have 7 to 14 days unless it's an emergency hearing. But if it's an emergency hearing, especially if it's your emergency hearing, then you should have already prepared for it before you set it, right? And kind of in essence, that's how it should work. But again, we always have those last minute things. And again, if the team is not on the same page, that's not going to be what happened. So powwows are super important when it comes to really organizing and really getting it together. Another thing that you should take into consideration when you're thinking about some things that you can do is organizing your calendar. So instead of looking at the calendar, obviously look at it a day in advance, even a week in advance, look at your calendar as a whole. So look at it as the entire month. Okay, what is the month of July going to look like for me? But as a whole, okay, the children start school in August, or they have extracurricular activities, or I need to drop them off, or I need to do this, or I need to do that, or my husband has a meeting during that day, or this and that, or my wife, or this, my daughter, whatever the case may be. Look at your calendar as an entirety from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. And that way you can better organize yourself and relieve yourself from the chaos of it all. Because if you're not organized internally, there's no way that your job or your personal life is going to get organized either. And trust me, I get it. My husband's not the most organized person, and I'm always constantly having to organize him as well. So I understand that maybe that support sometimes is not there when it comes to organization. But again, if you work on your organization, the rest of it will fall into place. And if you know your spouse and you know all the bottlenecks that we identified in question number 1, then it'll be easier for you to make some changes and improve it, whether it's a family calendar, whether it's a family meeting, whether it's a professional meeting. Especially now with the virtual world, meetings are very easy and very accessible. So whatever it is that you need to do in order to organize and get the case to where it needs to be, that's what you need to think about, and you need to start it today. If setting a meeting is one of those things, then set the meeting. Hey, I need to set a meeting. This case is coming up for trial. This case is coming up for mediation. I know we only have whatever 20 days left, but I really need to set a meeting so we can get some strategy up in here and we can kind of figure it out, divvy it out, delegate, do whatever we need to do in order to get the case to where it needs to be. At the end of the day, the case and the client are going to actually fail if that doesn't happen, right? So definitely focus on what you can do today in order to improve tomorrow. And the third one is, how can you get the best, right? How can you get the best outcome? Put the plan together and then alleviate all of that. That's what you need to focus on. You need to see, if I need that meeting, who does the meeting include? Does it include my attorney? Does it include my paralegal, legal assistant, receptionist? Who is actually involved in this meeting? If you need to include the client, right? They need to put their input as well. So whatever that is that needs to come together in order to alleviate the chaos and the fires that we always are trying to extinguish, do that now and start making a plan every time. So from the intake, from the day that you get that case, you already know what your plan is. Okay, I need to set a client meeting. I need to set an attorney meeting. I need to set a paralegal meeting. I need to set a group meeting. I need to set an entire parties meeting, even if it includes opposing party. I need to talk to opposing party. I need to do this. I need to do that. Right then and there, you're already setting up a plan, a checklist, whatever the case is for you. You're already setting that up from the get-go, so that way you can better succeed at the end when it is time for trial, settlement of some sort, deposition, whatever it looks like in your type of practice. And this is for both attorneys and legal staff, guys. I mean, I understand that the top makes the last decision, but if the supporting staff actually focuses on that and having that conversation with the actual I guess, communication between both of you, I think that's going to alleviate more what your bottlenecks are and what the process can look like. So definitely try and figure that one out. That's super important when you sit there and you think about all these bottlenecks that you have, what you can do about it, and setting that checklist and setting that process up if there's not one in place. If there is one in place and it's just not working, well, let everybody know. Nobody's going to know. I actually posted about this, or I think I'm planning on posting on this. I'm not sure if I've done it yet. I schedule my posts in advance, but one of the posts that are coming up soon is about that, is about planning your process. And it's about setting the expectations, because that's really what's needed at this point. You need to set the expectations. The higher ups, they always purchase these fancy softwares and this fancy technology, but at the end of the day, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Just because it's the best, it doesn't mean it's the best for you. And it's not the best for the firm or the legal department or the organization as a whole. So you need to speak up and you need to let them know, because if that's one of your bottlenecks, you need to let them know. And it's not just presenting the problem, it's offering them a solution as well. They probably know that there's a problem. They're probably looking for a solution. But if you come to them prepared and saying, hey, I saw the software, I did the demo, I already spoke to them, I set up, if you want me to, I'll set up a meeting. But I think this software is going to work better for you, and this is why. And present it to them, kind of like if you were the salesperson. At the end of the day, the legal support team is the one that works with the process on a day-to-day basis. So sometimes the upper ups or the management, administration, whoever it is in your case, probably don't understand that there is a problem, or they don't know that there's a problem unless we let them know. So that's definitely a big factor as well in alleviating the chaos of it all. I'm not sure, does anybody have any questions before I continue? No? All right, cool. Well, if you do, you can either message me through LinkedIn or post it in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to go ahead and answer any of your questions. So let's put what I just talked about into perspective. So let's go with an example. I'm just going to do the most general example. And this is basically the preparation for trial. Let's say one of your bottlenecks is that at the last hour, you're working 12 to 14 hours in preparing this trial. The first question you should be asking yourself is why? Why am I working these 12 to 14 hours at the hour when the trial was set 6 to 9 months in advance, sometimes even a year? Okay? Once you go down that mental list, then you say, okay, how can I better this process? Even if it's just me, then even better. If you're the one handling it, great. It'll be easier for you to change the process. If not, okay, who are the parties that need to be involved in changing this plan? Is it my attorney? Is it my paralegal? Is it my legal assistant? Is it the receptionist? Is it the intake person? What caused that bottleneck, or who caused that bottleneck, or what part of the process caused that bottleneck? And why am I here 14 hours and the hour, right? So those are the questions that you should be asking yourself. After all of that, obviously you may not be able to change it right away, right? Because you're in the middle of it. After you get done with the preparation of that trial, then you say, okay, what went wrong? Who were the parties, and how can I fix it? Knowing your administration, knowing your management, you should already have a good idea as to why or how to present it, right? Because it's all about communication. It's all about how you present it. The big thing is, right? What we always know is it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You can't come in, storming in all angry and upset about, this and how it's always happening. Well, yeah, obviously it's always happening, but how can you fix that, right? We love to just, a great example, this happens all the time, is we love to sit in these meetings that, as the meme says, it could have been an email, and like go through every question, every problem in our head, but we don't ask the question. We don't present a solution. We just stand there, sit there in disarray, really mad at the whole thing, and not actually be spoken, not actually be outspoken, not actually present whatever's in your head. We just sit there and listen and take it. But we don't need that. At the end of the day, in the legal industry, in order for that case and for that actual, whatever situation, process change, whatever it is, in order for that to succeed, you need to work as a team. If you're not working as a team, if the communication is not clear and concise from the beginning to the end of the process, then there's always going to be bottlenecks that prevent you from moving forward on those certain bottlenecks. Another thing that is considered a bottleneck is that most of us, when we're in this legal industry, are not trained. We're not properly trained on our job. So we're figuring it out as we go, and we have no clue as to what happens before us and what happens after us. And that right there is a major problem. Can you imagine, like back in the industry, in the industrial era, if the person before them and after them didn't know what the actual product was or what item they needed to put in order for that car to be built or that item to be built? It would be a disaster. We would never have cars. We would never have anything that we have now. Technology wouldn't even exist. So if other industries are implementing this process on the known, right, on what happens before you and after you, why are we not doing that, especially when we have the lives and legal matters of someone at hand in the legal industry, right? So these are questions that you should be asking and that you should be providing solutions. A perfect example is, yes, Amalia, communication is the biggest issue because, yeah, we need to figure it out. I'm going to post this in here. Absolutely. I completely agree with trying to figure it out as we go, because what happens is I've been in that. I worked it for 15 years, and I know, and I actually, the last attorney that I actually worked with literally in my face said, "This is never going to change." And I'm like, it's never going to change because you don't want it to. You're the boss. You can change it, but you choose not to. You choose to run it this way. And that's not good. It's not good at all. So proper training is always a good one, where you get trained on your position, but also what happens before you and after you. If you're not the intake person, if you're not the receptionist, if you're not the first go-to person, you're not going to know how a case is actually implemented in the actual law firm. If you are the all-in-oneer and you're all of those things that I just listed, then create your process and make sure that you understand fully what the case needs and what the strategy is from the attorney in order to go ahead and really provide that outcome for the client. At the end of the day, again, they're coming to us with legal matters. They are themselves frustrated and flustered because this is probably either the first time or second or third or fifth or whoever, but they're obviously under a lot of stress. So they're coming to us for help as an SOS. They don't understand how to take advantage, or they don't understand what's going on when it comes to that case. So we definitely have to alleviate that by setting expectations from the get go. Hey, I'm your go to person. This is my information. This is when these are the best hours you can communicate with me. These are my hours, my work hours. This is my direct line. By setting the tone from the beginning, you're already alleviating all those bottlenecks that we discussed in the beginning. So really sit down, think about it, look at the process as a whole. And I know sometimes we all say that the law firm doesn't even have processes, but even though they don't have a process implemented, they do have a process. They have a main number where the client calls, they have paralegals, they have legal assistants, they have receptionists. All of that is what we call a process. So if they have a receptionist answering the phone calls, if they have an intake person for when the client comes in and they do all the questioning and they sit them down and they do all the investigating, that is a process. I just explained to you the beginning of a process. And then after all of that, then it gets handed to the paralegal. That can be very frustrating. Sometimes paralegals prefer to do it all because they understand the process and they understand that by them doing it from the beginning, they won't be missing information and it alleviates the back and forth. But it doesn't have to be that way because what's happening is you're creating a greater stress on yourself and on your legal staff, and that should not be. Again, communication is key, communication is imperative, and by implementing processes that actually work for your firm, your legal department, your organization, you can alleviate all of that at the end of the day. So definitely trying to figure out what those bottlenecks are, which I'll put the questions up again because I saw somebody that asked me for it. So yeah, so by really identifying the bottlenecks and going through the things that you can do today in order to change it, because that's another thing, right? We always say, oh, whatever, it's never going to change. Nobody's going to listen to me. Well, have you tried? And if you tried, did you present it the way that would have been nice? I mean, you got to think about it. These people own a business and you're dealing with their baby, right? Their bread and butter. And they may not take suggestions very keen. I mean, they may not like it. But if you go to them and say, hey, this is a problem. The clients are complaining. You are losing money. You're getting no referrals. You're getting bad recommendations. You're doing this. If you explain to them as to why you're presenting this and what it's hindering on the company, and you present it more of that way, they probably will be more inclined to listen to you and really appreciate what you have to say because one, you're showing them that you care, and two, you're showing them what you're worth. And that right there, that emotional intelligence is the best intelligence and the best experience you can ever offer an employer. Now, if you are the employee and you're trying to figure out what process is better for you, I suggest you ask your staff. I mean, they're going to be the best people to offer that information to you. They will be the best people to test new softwares that you're looking at. Ask these software companies and people not just for a demo, but for a trial. Give me at least 30 days worth of trial so that I can implement this actual software and see if it's actually worth the money. Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're going to sacrifice. And sacrifice is not the same as compromise. You're going to either sacrifice something of your employee, whether it's benefits, whether it's hours, when you could have alleviated all of that at the beginning by doing proper research. My favorite thing, and hold on because I'm a little. My favorite thing, and true story, I went in and I did a consult to these attorneys, and they were a partnership law firm for, I believe there was like three of them, three or four of them, and they all sat down, and one of them was on board. They're the one that called me. The other ones were not. They were definitely not happy that I was even there. They believe that they have the best process ever. And I do my consults a little differently, which I'm not going to go in depth with it, but I look at it as the paralegal that I am, right? Because I've been a legal professional for 18 years. So my the way I consult is a little different than the average business consultant, or these fancy experts that claim they're experts, and then they go to these law firms and they have no clue what they're doing. So I believe I was like the third consultant that they had interviewed, which might have been why they were so reluctant. um, and I come to them and I give them my spiel. I give them my elevator pitch. And then I look at them and I noticed that they were a little hesitant. And I say, "Can I ask you why you brought me here today?" And two of them, of course, were like, "Well, we didn't bring you here." And they were very upset. And the other one was like, "Well, I brought you here because my staff is complaining that we keep them too late, that we're doing this, that we're doing that, and this and that." Now, the other two were not aware of that particular situation. And I could immediately tell that they weren't because of their reaction. So apparently, the staff was more comfortable going to that particular partner than the other two, and I could obviously see why. So I said, "Okay, well, there's problem number one. You guys aren't communicating with each other. And as a partnership, just like any partnership in this life, you need to work together and you need to actually figure it out." And that right there will alleviate most of your bottlenecks that you already have. And on that note, what are the bottlenecks? What are the things that they're complaining about, and this and that? And so the consultation went a lot smoother after that. And of course, I got the job because I looked at it, with, again, a different perspective and different eyes. But that's the way that we should be looking at businesses in general. That's the way that, whether you're an employee, a contractor, freelancer, employer, business owner, entrepreneur, whatever label you want to put yourself as, or whatever box you're putting yourself in, you need to understand the current circumstances in order to understand what the outcome can be. A lot of us, I talked about on my other lives, about goals, about setting goals, and about how we should be able to set goals and really understand those goals and then implement them, because at the end of the day, it's just going to be a list. Well, the same thing with the processes. We need to actually create a process that works and then implement the process as a team, though, right? This is not a one person show. This is a team. At the end of the day, we need to work as a team. All the decisions made need to be made as a team. All the softwares purchased need to be consulted as a team. Because, one, it creates a wonderful trajectory and environment. Two, it creates trust, that the employer, employee, whatever, is actually trusting each other. And three, it closes the gaps and it alleviates all those bottlenecks in the process. And that's what we need to work on. That's why the legal industry is so disoriented sometimes and creates these massive, really bad chain reactions, where we need to start continuing, trials, and where new evidence has been discovered. Really, new evidence? I mean, why? Why was it all of a sudden new evidence? Because you didn't do your job in the beginning, you didn't properly investigate. I mean, yeah, obviously sometimes there are legitimate reasons as to why there's new evidence, but I can go on and on about that. Um, at the end of the day, if you're not working as a team and you're not strategizing and you're not setting those expectations, you're not going anywhere. You're going to continue to just chase behind the calendar, and you're just going to be like a clock, right? The clock, the hands on the clock, going circles. And that's not good. And it hasn't been working, and it's not going to work. It's funny because the definition of insanity, I heard this the other day, which was amazing, by the way. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same results. So that should put into perspective what I just said. Right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I have a question. Somebody actually messaged me. How is the best way to create a process? So, the best way to create a process in general is when, depending, right? So, this all depends on the how the firm is structured or the organization in general is structured. But depending on the organization and the structure of the organization, the best way to do it is having a huddle, like a team huddle, round table it out. Discuss your bottlenecks, discuss all the problems, and then once all the problems are listed, you powwow on solutions, on how we can better this, how we can better that as a team. Again, putting it all together as a team. And I think that would be the best way to do it. And of course, obviously, hiring a business consultant or a consultant to come in to assist you with actually implementing it and really seeing if that's going to actually help the firm is also another option. But if you can't afford one, then obviously a powwow is nice. And then implementing it. That's kind of key, right? So after you create the process, you want to implement it, want to jot it down, put it somewhere, maybe in your case management software, in your Outlook, whatever you use as a team. Office 365. A lot of people use the Teams option. If you're using Office 365, the Google has, I think it's called Hangouts option as well. Putting all that in there, putting a structure, a flow chart of who does what first, and then putting another flow chart as to okay, what the whole process from the beginning to the end will also give a visual to the staff and understanding to the entire staff if they're not on the same page. So yeah, so that was a good question. That's a funny one. So the next one is, as a consultant, how do you handle the difficult clients? So, I mean, what a loaded question. Um, as a consultant, I look at my client just like any other client. So whether I'm consulting a legal professional to improve their legal career, whether I'm consulting a attorney or administrative management for creating and improving a process, whether it's talking and interviewing on a podcast or talking live, I treat everyone equally. I don't think that because of a title or education or certification you should treat anybody lesser or more than. Um, Obviously, we should treat each other with respect. And once you actually, I guess, set the tone, I'm trying to find really good words for this, but after you set the tone with them and make them understand that you're just there to help them and that although you may be reluctant in the beginning, it'll be totally worth it in the end. And show them numbers, right? Because money talks and walks. I'm not going to say the word, but yeah, I think humanizing the process and whatever process it is, I think will be the best bet when it comes to anything, whether it's a client, as a paralegal, dealing with a client. Again, they're human and they're going through a really rough legal matter. That they probably didn't foresee and didn't understand the legalities and everything and the repercussions that come with it. Obviously, that's why they're there. Um, and so we need to understand that and we need to make that normalize it. We need to normalize that, we all have struggles, we all have internal battles. And the only way that we can truly create a true communication is when we listen to learn and when we learn to listen. So that's my tidbit. Um, and obviously showing them statistics. I think showing them facts and showing them the numbers as to, okay, you're investing this much on me, but this is how much I can save you. And if you do it this way, you'll save more money. This software, although it may not have everything that you want, it has everything that you need, and it's within your budget, so you don't need to out purchase anything, and it can grow with you and all this and that. So when you explain it to them in a way where that you provide them the full picture and you're not just the salesperson trying to sell them something that they may or may not need, um, I think they are more inclined to respect you and listen to you. Obviously, as a young female, it's sometimes hard to be in a room filled with men. But I think I've set myself apart long enough, and I've always been that strong person. So I don't let that intimidate me. And I think when they see no fear, smell no fear, they don't try me. So, yeah, good question. Thank you. Was it hard to establish your consulting business? Hard. I guess it would depend on your definition of hard, um, to be honest. Again, I've always been strong. I've always been very independent, I'm sorry, and I've always been self sufficient. I've never let anybody really bring me down. I just naturally am that way. I know that's a little hard to believe, but I have, you can ask my mom and my dad, God rest in peace. But I've always been that way. I don't know. I've never had fear. I've never really, I just go for it. And yes, of course, there's always that little scare, the little butterflies, like I like to call it. Like when I started these lives, I was intimidated about the rawness of it all and the unediting, and because I can be a bit of a outburst. And so if you hear me like pausing or anything like that, is because I'm very reluctant sometimes as to what I say. And because I don't want, it's not that I'm stepping on eggshells, because I am going to try and be as authentic as possible, but I don't want to say anything to offend anyone. So I try to keep it where it's business, it's legal, but yet it's also, the inner preparation of it all. So, was it hard? I want to say I did struggle a little bit due to me looking the way I look, very young, and me not being an attorney. Yes, I did struggle a little bit as far as trying to prove myself and trying to sell my business or I'm sorry, my services and my products to people that may look at me as just a paralegal at the end of the day, because those are my credentials according to them. But once I got my first client, they started referring me to others, and it worked. So here I am today. Yeah. So thank you. That was a great question. All right. So we got about 20 minutes left. Um, I do want to for those of you that are watching or going to watch this on a replay, you can go to my website at edarosallc.com/events, and you can see all our events uh, for, I think, up until September right now. We don't have anything yet for October, I believe. I'm not going to curse it. But yeah. So new stuff is coming by. I am negotiating with people, so you can definitely check our events out there. But yeah, I know I give a lot of free content, so you can obviously subscribe to the YouTube, listen to our Let's Talk Paralegal podcast, visit our shop, and see what services and everything we have. And our next big project, which if you guys don't know about it, I'm going to tell you, is our Let's Talk Paralegal book, which is going to be out this September, and then I'm super excited about. And yeah, so let me know if you guys have any questions. Oh, the shop website is right here. I'll leave it on there. Give me 1 second because I think my computer. The charger got unplugged. Sorry. So, didn't want my computer to die in the middle of a live. Yeah, so any more questions? Doesn't have to be about this, but that's a good one. How do I improve my communication skills? Okay, honey. Well, Let's talk about that for a second. So, improving your communication skills. I'm still doing that, by the way. I am multilingual. I speak three languages, going on four once I complete my Portuguese course. And I have to say, communicating in different languages is quite difficult, just because of the tonality of it all. So, I'm going to talk about communication both in a literal and obviously in a more practical way. And so, one thing you need to understand when it comes to communication is it depends on who you're speaking with. I always love to say this, but I am very loud and proud. I am Hispanic descent. So, we tend to be very loud, very outspoken, very opinionative. Sometimes some may even say judgmental. So we tend to be sometimes stubborn as well. And not that I'm classifying Hispanics as this. This is personal to me. But yeah, and so that can kind of rub people the wrong way, depending on whether if they're a super introvert of a different culture that's more timid, more quiet. So you kind of put those water and fire together and not good, or oil and fire and ignite it, whatever you want to look at the spectrum. So when it comes to that, you need to understand who your audience is, who you're talking to, who is listening to what you have to say. And sometimes, not that I'm saying you need to change yourself, because by no means am I telling you you have to change who you are. You may have to be a little more, I guess, you have to kind of look at it, right? You have to make sure and be aware of that fact. So I don't use my hands a lot when I'm around certain people. I'm very animated when it comes to that. So I have a pen that keeps me kind of controlled as far as my hands go. Especially when I'm like in a classroom, it's kind of weird if I'm all like, crazy. So it really depends on your environment. It depends on who you're speaking to, who your audience are, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, all these aspects of communication you need to take into consideration, especially written communication. Oh my God, how hard is that with the emails and the text messages? It's just very difficult to create this communication outlet and understand and like my husband says, just call them. Why you keep texting back and forth? Sometimes it's just easier to call them so that they understand, what it is. And I think that goes throughout everything, right? So when it's like communication as in a practical sense, we need to understand that again, they're human. They may be going through some things, and that it's okay to just pick up the phone and talk to them. Watch your tone. You may be upset. You may have a bad day, but that's not their fault, and vice versa. If you see that they're a little short with you, they have a little attitude, it may not be you. It may be something that's happening underlining. Um, the situation. But at the end of the day, if you tell them, hey, we need to get this done and it needs to be today, then maybe they'll snap out of it. Who knows? I always find that when you're on the phone and, like you get that person where they're just so wound up, I always find that putting them on hold politely helps, because it kind of gives them like time to think and react. Also, you have to understand that when we are really hyped, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, like if you're very super excited or if you're very anxious and stressed and something's really happening and you're just like this, your brain is going through a chemical reaction. So what's happening with that is that you're no longer using your frontal lobe of your brain. You're only using the back one, which is fight, what we know as fight, flight, or freeze. Um, and so your conscious mind, the one that actually makes the actual like conscious decisions, like, oh, red light, stop the car kind of thing, um, is not there. Your brain is just like, woo, that's why they say, oh, she flipped the lid or he flipped the lid. Yeah, it's literally all your chemicals go in the back of your brain, and you're no longer making conscious decisions. So you have to understand that sometimes when people are like up there, really in that era, um, you need to give them some time to relax. So hitting the pause button, putting them on hold for a second, it will truly help. If they're in person, walk away. Hey, give me one moment. Would you like some water? Water helps, cold water in particular. Water helps with the chemical reaction too. So once you understand the science of a human, um, you can better communicate with people. Sometimes you're just not on the same page. Let's just be real. Sometimes you have an agenda, they have an agenda, and it just doesn't work out. And you both are probably in two different places. So it's best to just leave it for another day if that's possible. Or again, hit the pause button and walk away. So great question. Looks like we have 15 more minutes. So not that I'm counting down, just saying. Great question. So this question is about balance. How do I balance it all? Which I get this one a lot. Actually, probably in my other lives, I've already answered this, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Um, yeah, so being a mom, being a business owner, having a lot of hats and really carrying on the weight can get to you. And I'm not going to say that I haven't had my bad days because I'd be lying. But I enjoy my good days and I accept my bad days. But the best way I can explain to you how I balance it all is my definition of balance is kind of, and I'm going to quote Christy Wright on this, is doing the right things at the right time. Um, and that's important. Uh, Perfect example. Yesterday was my daughter's second dance class, and I had a really big meeting, and I knew that this meeting was going to be massive for the business and that it was going to get me to where I wanted to be, and it was great. And they offered me the only time they offered me was exactly the same time as my daughter's class. That morning, my daughter had begged me to be there because she wanted me there. She wanted my support. So, what do I do? Do I lose out on this opportunity and be there for my daughter, or explain to my daughter that I have another responsibility and attend that meeting? I chose my daughter because when I opened up this business, it was because of her. And I have this inner mantra that I say family first. And if the opportunity is the right opportunity, they will understand. So I let them know. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend the meeting at that time. Is there any alternate time? And guess what they said? Yes. Go figure. So yes, so they said yes, and I was able to reschedule it, and there you go. So balance. I guess the best way I can explain it is follow your instinct and follow your gut, because that's really the only way you're gonna be able to navigate it all. Especially when it comes to certain decisions that you feel are important, you need to prioritize your priorities. I know, right? Sounds a little weird, but it's definitely my go-to answers when it comes to that. Uh, Somebody's asking about our workshop. Yeah, so you can go. Well, I'm going to give you this website, and then I will post the workshop, the registration workshop link. Oh God, guys, that was horrible. Sorry about that. In the comments, and also in the comments for the replay, so you guys can sign up. So I will do that right now for you. You're welcome. So I just posted it in the comments. It's on eventbrite.com. That's usually where all our workshops are. And oh, actually, I have it here. So we have this nice little, well, this is just an empty box, but this is the box it comes in. And then for this workshop, you actually get the book that I co-authored in, which is called Behind the Oath. You can also buy it on Amazon. Well, you don't just get the book, you get a lot of other things with it. But yeah, that's primary what you'll get, along with some cool stuff. I'm still trying to figure out what else I'm going to put in there. I mean, obviously, you'll get like a pen and you'll get like maybe a little pad or something. But I always like to add little extra stuff in there for you guys to use for after the workshop. So you'll get a handout, all that good stuff you'll get with any ticket purchase. But you have the option to purchase just the ticket or purchase the ticket with the box. We also are selling our shirts. We're selling our cups, which I have right here, which are super cool. See them? I always use it. I'm obsessed with these. And the cup comes with a straw. I know somebody asked me that last time. Yes, it comes with a straw. It comes just as you see it. Yep. Made in the USA. Obviously, all our products are supported by small businesses, and we support them. So, paying it forward, American made. The cup actually on the bottom says "Made in the USA." So, there you go. Yeah. So that was good. Anybody else? We got 10 more minutes. Any other questions you guys have? Yes. So the link that's on the screen right there below where it says edarosa.com, that's our main website. And then / events is where all our events are. But you can go on the website. Um, and here's the actual website, if that makes it easier. You're welcome. So yeah, that's the main website that has everything. So anything that you want to look for as far as the podcast, the link to the book to purchase the book, links to the event, everything is on our website. We try to make it as easy as possible. And also the shop. The shop link is on our website as well. So if you want to check that out, you can go ahead and check that out. You're welcome. Anybody else? I still got a few minutes. I like to complete the hour. Ooh, okay, let's get personal. Somebody asked, how do I handle my personal responsibilities? Wow. I don't know quite what that means. Yeah, so a long time ago, I made a decision that when I can't clean the house, I simply just get someone to do it. And when I mean clean the house, I mean laundry, dishes, floors, everything. Like I just pay somebody to do it. I treat, unfortunately, this is so sad, but it's very true right now. When I opened up my business, I learned about how to run a business because obviously I didn't know anything about running a business before I did that. So I learned as I went when I opened up the business, but I treat my personal life. Oh, this is going to sound horrible, and I'm going to say this live, and it's going to get recorded, but I treat my personal life kind of like my business. Oh, that's so horrible. I look at the return on investment, right? So, how long is it going to take me to clean this house? And how much money can I make while that person is cleaning that house? That's really what it is. It's not about money either. Like, am I'm taking away from being a mom, being a wife, being a friend, being whatever it is I am outside the business. And sometimes that time is worth more. And that's it. So I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to that. I wasn't always like this. Took me a long time to get there to where I'm just like, I can't do it. Yeah. Pay somebody to do it. Yeah, unfortunately, that's really the answer. I'm gonna be real with you. That's really how it works around our house. Yeah, we take turns and all that good stuff, but sometimes we just can't. I mean, our lives are again chaotic, right? That's the whole concept of this. Um, yeah, so I treat it like that. Um, for those of you that are looking for like balance questions, and especially personal growth, I definitely, and I always say this, I recommend Christy Wright. She's amazing. She's been phenomenal for me. She has a podcast. She has numerous books. Um, and I'm actually getting into Rachel Hollins right now. I'll let you know how that one goes. But I was recommended to me by my best friend, so I'm definitely my pen fell. I'm definitely we'll keep you posted on that one. Yeah. So, but yeah, Christy Wright has been very good to me. So if you're out there, love you, girl. You're amazing. Um, but yeah, so that's definitely, she's actually coming out with a book, I believe in September as well, about balance. So for all you that are asking those balance questions and personal life and how to handle all of that, Definitely check out her book because her other books were amazing. So I'm pretty sure that one's going to be great too. Yeah. Christy Ray, I'll put it in the comments. It's a CH, and Ray is with a W. The book is Behind the Oath. Oh, the new book. Oh, the new book will be, I'm hoping September will be out right when our podcast comes out. So hopefully by September it'll be there, and we'll be posting announcements later on this month. So about the book and all about it and what you can do and where you can get it and all that good stuff. So yeah, you'll have all that information later. Right now it's not finalized, so I don't want to announce anything. And plus we got to go through the whole copyright stuff. So unfortunately, you'll have to wait just a little bit. You're welcome. The book, oh, well, the title of the book is going to be called Let's Talk Paralegal. I can tell you that. You're welcome. I made it easy for anybody that follows me. They can just find it. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Somebody said congratulations on the podcast. Thank you so much. Yeah, we made it to number 7 on Google. I know. Great job. I know. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. All right. I think we're good. If there's no other questions, I'm going to log off and thank you guys for always supporting me and attending my lives and all my workshops and all that good stuff. So if you need any other information, go ahead and go on our website. And again, it has all the links to our podcast, our books, our pretty much everything. Workshop, well, not pretty much. It does have everything. The online shop and all that. So thank you guys. Until justice is served, I'll be here.